Hello and welcome to the Reflecting Light Show. I am your host, April Rodgers, and I am delighted that you are back for another episode. You know, I am both a tennis and a track mom. My oldest, Addie, plays varsity tennis, and then my youngest, Ella, is on the middle school track team. And what we discovered about Ella is that she is really fast. I had a friend who was texting me while we were at a track meet one night, and she said, I had no idea Ella was so fast. And I texted her back and I said, I didn't either. This is a new development. But what we found is that Ella had been on the basketball team. So for the whole season prior to track, she had been training on the basketball court, and they were running these sprints up and down the court. So by the time she made it to the track season, her body was conditioned and she was ready to run these sprints. So she ran the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, and the 4x1 relay, all without hardly even breaking a sweat because she had trained her body to be able to run. But what is interesting is just about a year ago, she had never done this at all. And she came home one day and she said, Mom, I really want to try out for the track team. I said, okay, great. Have you been running at all? And she said, no, ma'am. I said, okay, well, let's go and get conditioned and I'll run with you. So we went out there and we ran. And we finally got up to a mile, and then we said, okay, we're good. We're ready to go. And so she goes out to the track meet, and there I am in the stands, and I'm cheering wildly, and she makes it across the finish line. And as she does, I expect her just to be so happy, but she's bent over. She's just like heaving, and she's saying, my legs are just going to fall off my body. And I just started laughing because it made me realize, even though she was able to make it, she was not trained to be able to run at that level because she had not been doing it. And so when I think about how this applies to our spiritual life, we always want to go back to Hebrews 12, don't we? Whenever we talk about running a spiritual race, because it says it so perfectly in there. The author of Hebrews wants us to know that we have to discipline ourselves and that we have to train if we want to win at this race of life. He says, no discipline is enjoyable while it is happening. It's painful, but afterward there will be a peaceful harvest for those of right living who are trained in this way. So what we see from this scripture is it's not always easy to discipline ourselves, but we have to do this if we want to live in the way that God intended for us to live. What does this mean for our everyday lives? Well, this means that we have to be willing to open up God's word for ourselves day in and day out. We cannot just let our pastor, as amazing as they may be, to read a scripture on Sunday or Wednesday night and that be it. No, if we want to win, we have to open it up for ourselves, and we have to let it permeate not only our minds but our hearts too. That's what it means to discipline and to run the race that God has called for us to run. I also love that the writer of Hebrews at the very beginning of chapter 12, he talks about that cloud of witnesses that we have. Now, this cloud of witnesses, he had just laid out for us in chapter 11. These are the heroes of the faith. So this would be Abraham, this would be Moses, this would be Rahab, all of these people who walked by faith, and they were able to run the race that God had given to them. And he says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles us, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith. So the first thing that we see in this is that we have to throw off everything that is holding us back. This is that sin that starts to trip us up. We have to be willing to let go of those things so that we can run freely and with freedom to the finish line. If we're going to allow sin to have a hold on our lives, and it's going to keep tripping us up, and we're going to find that we're not making any progress to the calling towards the finish line of what we are supposed to be running. So we have to let that go, and we have to throw that off of us. And then the second thing that it says is that we have to run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Friends, this is so important because your race is different than my race, and it's different than her race, and it's different than his race. We have to run the race that God is calling us to. If we're trying to play that comparison game and run a different race than what he has marked out for us, then we're going to completely miss it. We have to be willing to run the race that he has for us in store. And the way that we do this is by fixing our eyes on Jesus. Sometimes whenever we have a different focus and our eyes go this way, then what happens? We start to run in that direction. But if we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus at the finish line, then we can keep running with endurance. Does that mean that we're not going to fall down sometimes or get tripped up or skin our knee or get a cramp? No, these are things that happen. But if we keep our eyes fixed on him, then we know for certain that we are always running in the right direction. And the last part of this verse says that he is the author and the perfecter of our faith. He knows us because he made us. So he knows if we are better suited for a sprint or a relay or a long distance run. He knows this because he created us. He is the author of our faith, and he is also the perfecter. The thing about faith is that it requires faith. We have to be willing to not walk by sight, but to have a little bit of faith, which means that we put one foot in front of the other, knowing that we are running with a purpose in mind because we are running towards our Creator, our author, and the perfecter of our faith. So I hope that this has encouraged you today to run the race that has been marked out specifically for you, and that you will want to train by opening up God's Word and knowing what it says about you and how to live in this world with excellence. And as you do, you're going to find that you're going to hit that finish line with every single ounce of everything that you've had to give being put out there. Before I go, I want to thank today's sponsor of the Reflecting Light Show, Avery Suites. Avery Suites are executive suites that are in downtown Monroe, and it has such a professional atmosphere. You will have your own dedicated telephone number, you'll have your own office space, and you will have it fully furnished, and the address will be unique to you. So go to www.averysuites.com to reserve your spot today. I hope that this episode has blessed you, and if it has, please feel free to share it with a friend and hit that subscribe button. I hope that you have a great week. Go out and be the light.